90 Days Darcey and Stacey blow up at Georgi after learning he has been keeping a big secret. I'm not stupid. Meanwhile, Georgi was growing tired of Stacey inserting herself into his marriage with Darcey. Darcey and Stacey Silva got into an explosive argument with Georgi Rusev on the September 28th episode of 90 Day Fiancé. Happily ever after? After learning he had been secretly planning to purchase property overseas. Meanwhile, Georgi was upset that Darcey continued to insert herself into his marriage with Darcey. As Georgi and Stacey butted heads, Darcey said she hit my limit with her husband. Georgi Rusev has been keeping a secret from Darcey Silva, but she and her sister did not take kindly to that as their trip to Bulgaria came to a rocky conclusion. On the September 28th episode of 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After, Georgi revealed that he was planning on purchasing property near his family in Bulgaria, unbeknownst to his wife Darcey. The big announcement was made in Darcey and Georgi's hotel room as they were packing up to return home from their multi-week excursion to Georgi's home country. But neither Darcey nor her twin sister Stacey Silva were happy to hear this news. You should help save money so you guys can buy your own home in America or a condo in Miami or something, Stacey argued. Don't you want that and the American dream? What's the priority? Darcey agreed, but Georgi seemed flustered, shaking his head in frustration as Stacey accused him of being selfish. Then, she accused him of hiding something. I'm not stupid, Stacey said in a joint confessional with Florian Sukic, and expressed concern about Georgi's decision to not consult Darcey about this decision. He never really treats her like a wife. If you want to buy a property, and maybe do it together. Georgi was sad to leave Bulgaria and all of his family, whom he just reconnected with for the first time in 13 years. It's never easy to say goodbye, he told Darcey before the argument. Later on, Georgi told Stacey that the trip home left him feeling recharged. Stacey seemed pleased with his response. I'm just happy you guys are leaving happy, she exclaimed. It's good to see, because the Darcey and Georgi in Miami was not so happy, right? However, Georgi suggested this would not be his last trip back to Bulgaria. In fact, he revealed he hoped to return to his home country again very soon in order to take care of some stuff. When Stacey pressed him for answers, he announced his plans to seek out the property. Darcey told the group that this was the first time she had ever heard of these plans, and agreed with Stacey's suggestion that Georgi was acting selfish. Georgi insisted he wasn't planning on purchasing a property in the immediate future, but Darcey was still concerned. I don't even know how much money you have saved, she shouted. How much money are you putting toward this? You still have to pay taxes too. Stacey then resumed her own efforts to get Georgi to spill the beans about his finances. Why are you hiding money? She asked after pointing out that everyone in the room knew he had recently been promoted at work. In a confessional, Georgi expressed concern that Stacey had become too involved in his relationship. She's just putting these little bugs in Darcey's head, he explained, noting that the twins often team up against me, which he said can be hard to deal with that. Georgi defended his decision not to tell Darcey about his plans. I didn't bring my plans up sooner because Darcey's always shooting it out and she don't even listen to me, he explained. In a confessional, Georgi suggested that these reactions are why he had a really hard time opening up to his wife about some of the more complex parts of life. She'd overreact to little things, he said. It's like stressing for no reason, and it ruined the whole experience. Back at the hotel, Darcey got even more heated. At one point, she even suggested Georgi got what you came for after coming to America on the K-1 visa and getting his green card. But the conversation was only going in circles, so Darcey and Stacey made a beeline out of the room. Florian followed behind, leaving Georgi seething and all alone. When Georgi didn't chase after them, however, Darcey grew even more upset and stated that she had hit my limit. I'm upset because after I spent this whole trip trying to tell him all I need and want is your transparency, Georgi just wants to brush me to the side and not feel like he can include me to grow our wealth, Darcey said in a confessional. And like, hello, we're married. Shouldn't I know about that stuff because it makes you feel a little used? She continued. Obviously, it seems a little premeditated, like he was thinking and planning it for a while. Eventually, Georgi crossed paths with Darcey, Stacey and Florian downstairs, where tempers flared once again. After suggesting once again that Georgi got what he wanted from her, she went back to shouting at him. "You could take all my money, Georgi. I'll send you a check tomorrow," she told her husband, who then suggested she and Stacey don't have no money. "You're always broke," he said with a smirk and shrug, as Darcey and Stacey chirped back at him. But he argued that they spent far too much money on shopping and clothes. Georgi was particularly fed up with Stacey, who kept injecting herself into his argument with Darcey. "I say nothing wrong to you, first of all, so don't get involved in our relationship too," he shouted at Stacey, suggesting she worry about her own marriage, which also had a rocky past. Darcey then jumped back in. "You don't want to say the truth anyway to anybody, because you're full of secrets and you always will be," she asserted. "Stacey, he wants to fool me and I'm not going to be played for a fool." Infuriated, Darcey asked the front desk if they could get 2 separate cabs to take them to the airport. This made Georgi upset, as his sister was on her way to say goodbye to all of them before they headed home. "It's so childish, and Stacey's just adding more fuel to the fire," Georgi said in a confessional. "Darcey's always assuming the worst, even if she don't know about the situation. And that makes me even more upset." Georgi tried to help Darcey with her bags, but she refused to allow him. "You will not take me down," she said while wheeling her bags to the trunk of the car. "I don't live my life like that."
"How dare you?"
"I've got daughters. You don't act like family. I want to be far away from you." Georgi then watched as the trio pulled away in their cab. A short time later, Georgi's sister Nicola and her family arrived to send him off. After Georgi finished exchanging hugs and handshakes, Nicola asked about Darcey, Stacey, and Florian's whereabouts. "They got mad," Georgi told his sister in Bulgarian. "I told her I want to come to Bulgaria and travel more often since I can come back now." In a confessional, Georgi said he was embarrassed to tell his sister that Darcey stormed off and why. Nicola
"I
was
don't want to worry
supportive of her brother, he explained, noting that if Darcey can travel alone, then so can her brother. But Georgi was more upset that his wife and sister continued to gang up on him. "There needs to be compromise from both sides, not just one. You are one family, so you have to support each other," Nicola stated, but Georgi scoffed. "Things are not looking good." Meanwhile, in the cab, Florian asked Darcey how she can continue living in such a roller coaster of a relationship. But she insisted she didn't want to, and emphasized that trust goes a long way. Never miss a story. Sign up for People's free daily newsletter to stay up to date on the best of what People has to offer, from celebrity news to compelling human interest stories. "I deserve better than that," Darcey asserted. "I'm really disappointed because I really felt like I connected with this family and, they were loving and open to me too. And I don't know what the future's going to hold." 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After? Airs on Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time / Pacific Time on TLC.